Welcome to the WCS Solar Training video series. This video provides guidance on how to train healthcare workers to use the WCS Solar Suitcase. If you've not already watched the introductory video on how to use the Solar Suitcase, please do so before watching this video. It is important to teach healthcare workers to use the Solar Suitcase properly so that they feel comfortable using the new equipment. Your job is to ensure that health workers have all the skills and knowledge they need to use the Solar Suitcase on their own. Let's begin by thinking about how people learn well. Here are some tips that will make teaching easier for you and more enjoyable for the healthcare worker. 1. Take your time and don't rush. Generally, teaching healthcare workers how to use the Solar Suitcase can take an hour or more. 2. Describe things slowly and clearly. When possible, it is best to teach in the local language. Use a translator if needed to ensure everyone understands. 3. Repetition is important for learning, so repeat key concepts to participants. 4. Check for understanding. Ask participants questions and ask them to describe what they learned in their own words. Ask participants to demonstrate to you what they learned and invite them to ask you questions. Encourage participation from the whole group. Participation makes learning fun and effective, so make sure each participant has the opportunity to practice using the Solar Suitcase. 6. Make it fun. Include games and stories to reinforce learning. 7. Before you leave, make sure participants can use all the parts of the Solar Suitcase. Before you start training healthcare workers on how to use the Solar Suitcase, remember these important points. Ensure the correct people are in the room. These are the people who will be conducting or assisting with deliveries and other health staff who may use the Solar Suitcase, such as a midwife, nurse, facility in charge, doctor, and security person. Pick a time that is appropriate, a time that many health workers are available for the training. Be prepared. Set up Solar Suitcase and appliances in advance. Know the material that you need to teach. Become familiar with the Solar Suitcase before you begin to teach, and refer to the user manual and poster for guidance. Now that you know the basics of training, let's take a look at the best way to teach healthcare workers how to use the Solar Suitcase. Follow this order and your training will be successful. And remember to check for understanding at every step. First, start with briefly explaining the function of the different parts of the Solar Suitcase. Solar panel, charge controller, battery. Check for understanding. Follow up with questions. What does the battery do? What does the charge controller do? When do we turn off the main switch? Remember, you can come up with your own questions to make the training more interactive. Second, explain the meaning of each light on the charge controller. Check for understanding. Some questions, for example. How do you know when to charge appliances? How can you tell the solar panel is connected? Third, now that your participants know the meaning of each light on the charge controller, talk to them about the importance of saving electricity and using it appropriately. To help them understand, use the story of the limited amount of water in a bucket. The battery is like the bucket that holds water. The electricity from the sun is like the water. The charge controller is like your eyes, which let you see how much water is in the bucket. If you have little water, you would not want to use this water for washing clothes. You would need to save the water for drinking. Similarly, if you only have a small amount of electricity in your battery, you need to save this for lighting at night. If the bucket is overflowing, this is a good time to wash your clothes. Similarly, if the green light is blinking on the charge controller, this means there is overflowing electricity in the battery. This is a great time to charge appliances. You cannot refill your battery until the next sunny day, just like you might need to wait until daytime to refill your bucket of water. Fourth, explain how to use the system during the day and during the night. During the day, charge appliances when it is sunny and turn off the LED lights. During the night, you can use the lights when needed, but don't charge appliances. Check for understanding. Ask, for example, when should you charge appliances? Now that everyone has understood the meaning of each light on the charge controller and the importance of saving electricity, explain how to use and recharge each appliance. Use a marker to show where positive and negative are on the battery charger and photodoppler, and emphasize the difference between rechargeable batteries and single-use batteries. Again, check for understanding. Ask, for example, how many cell phones can you charge at a time? Can you use single-use batteries in the battery charger? Finally, review what has been learned and check for understanding. Follow the user comprehension checklist in the user manual to make sure you covered all of the important information. There's a game you can play with participants that teaches them how to fix common problems. With the main power switch and lights on, ask the participants to close their eyes. While their eyes are closed, change something on the solar suitcase. You can disconnect a light, turn off the main power switch, or unplug the main battery. Then ask your participants to open their eyes, find the problem, and figure out how to fix the problem. Let's review some important points for how to teach healthcare workers to use the solar suitcase. Prepare, prepare, prepare. The more you prepare, the better your lesson. Use repetition to help participants to remember important points. Engage with all your participants. Ask them to demonstrate how to use the solar suitcase and appliances. Follow the order of training as outlined in this video. Check for understanding by asking questions. Thank you for watching this video on how to teach healthcare workers how to use the solar suitcase. You're now ready to be a successful teacher.